Yeah, I mean that her performance was just beautiful, in my clearly humble opinion. All right, we should be live in a second. I had to do the quick version. Okay, so welcome to Hashtag Coffee.
Whoa, that was quick. Jesus,
Yep.
I wasn't ready for that.
We don't mess around up and yeah.
Well,
I mean we do.
Let's not get carried away.
That is entirely plausible. Okay, so we need to talk about Elizabeth Warren's just straight up on TV murder of a billionaire. Someone's like pull some clips out because god damn it, that was crazy. And we got to talk about the DNI getting fired 24 hours after that DNI did what that DNI was supposed to do, which is to take, oh yeah, the Russians are tampering in the elections again, straight to Congress. Again, that's his job, but he did his job and mentions that Russia wants Trump to win again, and then of course got fired. This guy was a Trump loyalist, but did his job and got fired. Now it's a right-wing blogger that is going to be in the Director of National Intelligence position, who was the ambassador to Germany as the big old thing that he was doing before. And one of his close aides will be Devin Nunes, this shit-headed guy who was going around the country telling everyone that the Russian investigation was a hoax. So that's awesome. Fun. Yeah, I mean, like the, hey, is the election going to get stolen? Went from a, yeah, maybe to a yes.
Yeah, it's worth remembering that that last week there was a conference in Germany where the American delegation was shunned. I think we can lay that squarely at the feet of our ambassador to Germany, Richard Grenell.
Did you see Matt Gaetz trying to be woke? Apparently Grenell's gay. He's like, oh, the first openly gay man who's going to be the Director of National Intelligence. Look how awesome this is. And like, yeah, dude, it's the guy is literally like was sending messages to Kalimnik. This guy was sending messages to, he's part of the whole. Yeah, but fucking Matt Gaetz is going to be woke for a half second. Fuck off. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm perfectly happy today. God damn it.
Hey, good to see everybody in the comments. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Warren. Nice of you to join us today. Of course, we would love for you to give us a like and a share. Share this back to your Facebook page. That'd be cool. We'd love that. We always like that. So yeah. I also I tagged local Elizabeth Warren organizer Anthony Avila into this thread into the video because I say, hey Anthony, our topic, our show title today is Warren Smash. So that's cool. Yeah. Hey, good morning, Donna and Deb. Nice to see you guys in here this morning. Donna, nice to see you. Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, I think it would have been a good idea for me to watch the debates, which I didn't do. I've seen some clips and some amazing posts about.
I think it's almost good to be getting that sense of it, because that's all that's really going to be left, right? I mean, that there was a lot of the details that we would normally get into. I'm starting to feel like it really just is the 30,000 foot view of these things that ends up kind of, if it makes any difference at all, making a difference,
Right. This is my favorite. So I didn't watch the debate. I was on a date and spending an evening with someone and her roommates and friends, and I had an amazing evening. So I woke up yesterday and opened Facebook, and this is the first post I saw. Our friend Jen Eichenberger posted this on her feed yesterday morning. And I can't stop laughing at it because the visual imagery is stunning. Yeah, so thought I'd share that in a conversation about how Elizabeth did. The other thing is his Wikipedia page was edited. Basically, Michael Bloomberg's page was edited. It was date of death, February 19th, 2020, cause of death, Senator Elizabeth Warren. It was cool to see her go directly at him like that. That's what needed to happen. And I have all sorts of weird feelings about sharing that, but there it is. Yeah. Can't wait to be able to say more about that one way or the other.
Right.
They really need some organizers on the ground in Florida. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think we do either way.
Yep. So what are you typing at? What are you doing there?
I'm trying to create like a little blah 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 so I can share the live, and unfortunately that means that the live is suffering a great deal. I should just go with the title.
Anthony says, "Dude, you missed the best one." I don't know. I please do tell Anthony. He's in the comments with us this morning. Mike Silvestri, 20 million viewers, highest audience of any previous Democratic debate ever. I did not know that. That's from Michael Silvestri. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Jareen. Nice to see you. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Well, and didn't Warren get like 500,000 in donations like before the thing was even over or some ridiculous thing?
Yep.
Yeah, so the money thing, this is where it kind of gets interesting to me, because we got to talk about the fact that she's taking PAC money now, which frankly, fine. And we can talk about the implications of that, because I don't feel super good saying that, but at the end of the day, like it really is her capacity, or any Democrat's capacity, to actually build a coalition and laugh track with the coffee, and do all the things that need to be done in order to unify the party, versus Mike Bloomberg, who can drop 4 million tomorrow for fun.
Right.
Anywhere, and as a side effect of what he's doing, right? And that's like,
right.
If she made 500,000 yesterday, she might do 5 million this week or something like that, right?
Mike says 5 million in 24 hours is what she got.
Great, right? And so this is the thing, right? You also have to be right. There are upward limits of what money can do. We think. I mean, I'm not entirely convinced that all this won't mean jack shit, right? Like, if you can spend $500 million, there are more low information voters than high information voters, and he could still win Super Tuesday, running away.
Yeah, it's $500 million, and it's February, right? Yeah. And the other thing is, it's working.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Oh, it absolutely
is. It's working in polling.
Yeah.
And if all the information people get is from little 15-second Facebook posts or Facebook ads, then it is going to work, and we need to be thinking about that. It's awful, but the money is there, and if you're not using the money and playing by the full rule set, then what are you even doing? I'm okay with Liz taking that money. I understand that it's problematic from an opinion consistency view over time, but I don't think anybody's staying home and not voting because Elizabeth Warren is collecting PAC money. I don't see that happening. Yep, Jareen, Liz killed it. I'm leaning Liz right now after flailing around, not knowing where to move since Yang announced his suspension. Good on you. I'm glad you're still in the process. You know what, Jareen? That was my biggest fear about the Yang supporters, is they would just fade back into the woodwork and not vote or not show up or vote for Trump but seeing folks like you remain engaged, that's got to be our target, is keeping those folks that came to the race only for Yang stay engaged. So my concern is, should he win?
Well, especially like Jareen going to freaking the Democratic groups, in her local area. Like, Jareen, you're the case study. If I could, just implant the amazing dedication that you have in your head into the rest of the people in the Yang gang that are thinking about just taking their ball and going home, I would do it. Because you're fucking awesome. Just to put a real simple twist on that.
I'm also happy that I'm not hearing much Tulsi Gabbard or bust at this point. Yeah, exactly. Because she is openly for UBI, right? So I was a little worried that.
Yeah. And like the non-interventionist and like I see the appeal. It's just when you dig underneath the surface, there are glaring issues that
it's problematic.
Are problematic.
And
she's like less than 5%. I mean, she's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. Michael Silvestri, my concern is if he should win, he'll likely not have the support of a Democratic House and Senate, but I think he will. Like, I think
who's that?
I think he's talking about Bloomberg. I'm almost sure he's talking about Bloomberg.
Okay.
That first of all, he's probably going to have to pick a more moderate running mate. And,
woman.
And Stacey Abrams has been in the conversation, right? So,
hey, remember when I said Stacey Abrams should be vice president?
Right. But if we see,
You said it too.
yeah, if we see the overwhelming win that we think we need, right, because of all the meddling, it's going to have to be at least a 5-point electoral victory. That I think that means if that happens, that means the Senate and the House will likely be in Democratic hands, and I think that he will have no choice but to do what they want. Is he going to not sign Democratic legislation?
I think people are really, I think people are really sleeping on that. Whether it's Bernie or Bloomberg, there is nothing that will, happen outside executive orders, right? And Bernie has said he wants to do a lot of things through executive orders. Most of those things aren't really going to bug me that much, around climate change and different things, for example. It's that, a lot of that, I think most of us would get on board with anyway. But any big things that they want to do have to run through the Senate. That's why, and my mom posted about the fact that everybody's still lying about Medicare for all, and they are, all the centrist candidates talking about price and talking about other things. It's all dog shit. But it's where the conversation is at right now. And having Bernie talk about Medicare for all in the way, or single payer the way that he is fantastic, because now everyone is like, oh yeah, we should totally do a public option, which proves literally true. Every time I've said we need to have somebody, being the bullet magnet, literally asking for what we want as a perfect end result that's going to scare the piss out of the Republicans.
A stalking horse is what you did.
Right. And so we end up moving to the position that ultimately will be the consensus position anyway.
Even AOC agrees with us on this one.
In the same speech, she used moving forward a bunch of times, and the Yang Gang was like, motherfucker, what? Well, because again, she was the same one who, and again, still walks on water as far as I'm concerned. Don't get it twisted. But was saying that UBI is a Trojan horse for capitalism, which is literally dog whistling to actual socialists.
Right.
Which I kept yelling at Rio weren't real. And apparently I am wrong.
Dave Myers, I teeter back and forth between Warren and Sanders. I like Warren a lot, but I don't think she has a shot. Unfortunately, look, again, here's the thing. All of them have a shot if we unify, get behind that person moving into the general election season. It's us. We have to do the work. Dave, we have to knock on doors for the eventual nominee. We have to make phone calls. We have to put signs on our cars and in our yards, and we have to, yell at people to register to vote. If we don't do that, none of them can beat him. If we don't do that, none of them can beat him. Not anyone, none. So it's on us. It's totally on us. It has been since the day the Senate abdicated their responsibility and acquitted Donald J. Trump. Since that day, it's been clear to me that it is all on us. We have to make this happen. Jareen says, I went yesterday and talked to my local Dem running for the House district about UBI. We had a good talk until a 70-something person showed up and said we were delusional. And every generation has their doomsday clock, and you're not working for women's suffrage or anything. Jesus.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they'll all be gone soon.
I honestly, I am all for researching technologies that will extend life indefinitely. And sometimes I feel like I should just stop.
Right.
Seriously.
So I had
new ideas.
Yeah, I had another thought. I want to kind of go back to Dave a little bit here, and say that I had a thought. I was trying to explain not voting your absentee ballot just yet in Florida to somebody yesterday, and I came up with the usual slate of reasons, which is people are going to drop after Super Tuesday, and our ballots aren't due till after Super Tuesday. So you could be voting for somebody now that's out of the race, and that would be unproductive. But the other thing, and it is sort of attached to that, is candidates raise money on how they're doing in each primary as it comes along. So saving your vote for someone that's still in the race in Florida is going to mean they can raise money on that vote. So if Warren has a good showing in Florida, she'll be able to raise money for other primaries before we get to the end of the race in the Democratic primaries. So therefore, I would argue that, Dave, maybe your vote is better spent voting for Warren than Sanders. If Sanders is polling clearly out front in Florida, and he isn't that far ahead in Florida right now, voting for Warren means she can raise money on those votes. So that's a consideration for your vote. This is the primaries, man. Vote with your heart. Vote for who you think has the best, has the best or closest approximation of your view of the world.
Yeah, to me at this point, just looking at everything, and I know it's an electability argument, and there's really good things being said about not bothering with that kind of thing. But to me, you can either unify the Democratic Party or you can't.
Right.
And she is already actively speaking to that. And Bernie Sanders is basically telling everyone else to go fuck off. Like, not basically, literally saying, if you're not with us, you're against us.
Yeah.
Right. So that 25%, if you're not, and again, I'm so glad I've been doing this show, talking to so many other different kinds of Democrats, whether it's Casey or Deb Rivera, or like just all the people that are kind of sometimes more moderate than I am or whatever. Like the Democratic Party is a large coalition, and you can't just steal it with 25% of the vote. You might be able to, but I would rather that not happen. Right. I would much rather, Elizabeth Warren, who again on Lawrence last night was talking about the fact that she called Kamala Harris, for example, and said, hey, you had this good idea around this. Is it okay if I give you full credit and roll that in, right? Creating coalition. Goes to Kirsten Gillibrand around a really good idea that she had. Said, hey, is it okay if I can roll this into to what I'm doing and give you full credit? Of course you can, right? So like already building coalition from the jump. That's just, to me, that's how you do it.
Yeah. I was just thinking about back up. Let me back up the comments here just a little bit. Moxie's mom, I think that's Jackie. Jackie G. Anyway, but Elizabeth can take on Trump. Yeah, she completely hosed an actual smart billionaire the other night on the debate stage.
Oh,
what do you think she's going to do, the idiot?
Right, exactly. Right, like, but I needed to see that from her, right? Because I knew that was in her, but I just like, where's that? And there's some people like, oh my God, you should be nice. I'm like, fuck off, nice.
No, you should be angry. It's okay to be angry.
Trial by fire.
Where we are.
Trial by fire.
I want an angry woman president. I really, really do.
I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
Bubble has said Corey's losing the green screen. I don't have a green screen. Otherwise, that would cut out better edges. This is actually Zoom, which is what we used to do these calls. Actually, just kind of does it automatically, and it's sort of approximating where my head is. Right. So that's a thing. Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Is it Jareen who just said this? Yeah.
Plus,
Bernie was looking pretty rough the other night, despite his good performance. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, sorry, I just want to get past this. So, ex-cons won the right to vote without having to pay fines in Florida.
Okay, but immediately DeSantis announced they're gonna appeal. They want it heard by the entire circuit court.
Yeah, of course they do.
Not just the panel.
The circuit bench that, for the record, has been stacked because Donald Trump is president.
They want to drag this out until it's too close to the election for people to register to vote without being put in jail.
Assholes.
That's what they're looking for. They do not want that 1.5 million votes landing because they know where they land.
Right.
And we worked really, really hard in the 18 cycle to pass Amendment 4. It's one of the things we were knocking on doors and talking about. We couldn't talk about specific candidates during the primaries because we were representing progressive causes, but we were talking about Amendment 4, and it was overwhelmingly supported. No matter who we talked to, Republican, Dem, Independent, they all loved the idea. This bullshit where we pass an amendment to the Florida Constitution and the legislator dicks around with it for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years is insanity. Constitutional amendments are supposed to be the last resort when we can't get action in the legislature, and that's been the case. That was the case with the net ban, which is the one that I was most heavily involved in. But they made a few feeble attempts to modify that and failed. But now, we have a red House, Florida legislature. We're very much a Republican conservative state legislature at this point, and that's how it shows. Is they don't want, for people that are about small government, they sure want to make a lot of hay on things that we pass.
Yeah, I mean, they've never been about small government, only about power. We know that.
Yeah, did the same thing on cannabis, same thing on medical cannabis.
Right.
By the way, two interesting things on that, and I know this is a bit of an aside. Why are your local and state elections important? Here's 2 really good examples. Yesterday, the Hillsborough County Commission unanimously voted to decriminalize cannabis in Hillsborough County. Right? It's been 40 years since there was a majority of Democrats on the Hillsborough County Commission. And the first year that's happened in 40 years, they decriminalized cannabis. That's why your local elections are important. Because even though it's not all Democrats on the Hillsborough County Commission, it's the first time we've had a majority of Democrats that unanimously decriminalize cannabis. And at the state legislative level, Carlos Guillermo Smith and another state legislator introduced legislation to decriminalize cannabis, to legalize cannabis for recreational use for adults over the age of 21. That got introduced yesterday in the state legislature. That's why Danny Antonino's race against Amber Mariano locally is important. That's why Brandy Goyette's race against Jack Mariano is important. That's why we really need candidates to run for the other 5 constitutional offices in Pasco County that we don't have a candidate for yet. Those Republicans are going to win unopposed in my county. That's insulting and sad, and you should consider running for office. I did. It hurt, but
you did the work. And inspired a lot of other people in the process.
Yeah.
Just to get to some comments here, Corey, that's why I love Warren, as it's not all about herself, it's about us, you and me. And by us, it doesn't mean like the 25% of people that agree with Bernie Sanders' entire platform. It's everybody in the Democratic Party, which I think is a much bigger deal. Maria said Warren came out like a dragon slayer. Did she fucking ever?
Yep.
Doreen
I did not see that GIF.
Do you see the GIF Randy Rainbow shared about her slaying Bloomberg? It was hilarious. I did not, but it's if you can send us a link, I'll throw it up on the screen. Sue said, "Was I the only one worried about Bernie's red face?" I didn't actually notice Bernie's red face because I was too fascinated by the dead body of Bloomberg. Dave said, "Angry woman president is why I liked Kamala Harris." Yeah, she's very good at being angry too, in my humble opinion.
Michael says, I thought some bigwig came forward and offered to pay the fines, i.e. poll tax, right, and was immediately told that the court would slap that down because it's illegal.
That's crazy.
Made the offer, but it's not legal to do so.
Wow. Ira, good morning. So I asked on Twitter, how do we get ranked choice and same day registration into Florida Constitution? That's a good question. I have go ahead, Greg.
Our friend Kelly Smith is actually really knowledgeable about that. Like those are things that need to be changed at the state legislative level. There is a panel that meets every 2 years to revisit constitutional. I guess they're called the Constitutional Revision Subcommittee, and they hold those meetings. They don't advertise them because they don't want us showing up and making them do things. But it is possible. It is a multi-year process. If we started today with a concerted ground effort to make it happen, I would say by 2028 we would probably have that process in Florida. But it's not something that's simple or going to happen fast.
Right. Well,
again, those in power are going to work very hard to stop that.
Yeah. Dream said we passed 788 MMJ. Awesome name for a bill. In the 2018 cycle by ballot initiative, we had activists carefully craft the bill so legislators couldn't jack it up. Good job there.
So did we, Jareen. So did we. And even with that, the implementation committee decided that they were going to cap. First of all, they removed smokable cannabis from the amendment, which we finally fought successfully, but it's taken 2 years to work back through that. So our legislature is absolutely convinced that they can take the will of the people and twist it around to suit their own purposes. So I'm glad that your state didn't have that experience, but ours sure did. And ours was a carefully crafted amendment to the Constitution.
There's an interesting conversation going on with the Warren's position on stopping all mining on public lands and stuff. There's actually another good conversation around using anything mined on public land and those leases to actually fund a UBI. Zoltan, who we interviewed for the Moving Forward podcast and who has the best name in politics, talked about that. I don't agree with it, but it's interesting at least. And talking about those lands being earmarked for parks and different things, I like to a certain extent. And I think a point that got brought up, like we need lithium, we need different kinds of things to create the solar panels and stuff that are actually going to make us energy independent. And what I say to that is, get your ass to a fucking meteor. All of that stuff and more, and all you need is some good spaceships.
Sure.
That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And
I want to go back
on methane. All you have is hydrogen and water. That's all I'm saying.
I want to go back on the public lands thing for a minute because there's something in the way here. Okay. There's a difference between a national park and a national forest. All right. And the forestry department, the Department of Interior and the U.S. Forestry Service have for a century and a quarter now been logging on public land. That's a thing. It really happens. The whole fight between the cattle ranchers in Utah that that pointed guns at federal agents was about grazing rights on public lands. Public lands are public, but they are also leasable to development, mining, and commercial interests. That's been a thing for as long as we have had public lands. So be aware that you're basically drawing a line about oil companies that doesn't exist for forestry companies. Yes, there are rules. Yes, there is oversight. But if you think that timber is not being cut from public lands, you're wrong, and it has been for 100 years. So that's a bigger fight. And I'm happy we're having the conversation, and I agree that public lands should have carefully monitored use. But you can hunt in the Ocala National Forest. It's encouraged because there needs to be some culling and conservation going on, and it also raises revenue for all the other things that we consider public lands. For instance, the vast majority of funding for Florida state parks comes from hunters and fishermen. Fact: the licensing and regulation of hunting on public lands pays for state parks. So that doesn't mean there's hunting in state parks. There is hunting in state forests. That doesn't mean there's hunting in national parks, but there is hunting in national forests. So you need to understand that public use of those lands does not necessarily mean that they aren't available for other kinds of exploitation. They are. You want to change that? 1,000% behind you. Let's do it. But as the rules exist now, there's no difference between an oil company using those public lands and a timber company using public lands.
Yeah, I think Warren was pretty specific about that. Speaking of which,
that is pretty good.
That's solid
good
work.
Yeah.
Thank you to Doreen for sending me this. I mean, it was just like this. It was like this exactly.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's like, can you imagine spending $400 million on something and then having Elizabeth Warren like literally stomp on your balls? Like that, like this was not worth $400 million. What have I done? Yeah, you should have just given it to Elizabeth Warren or Andrew Yang for that matter. Fucking guys.
Yep.
Anyway,
Dave says, logging is a lot different than drilling and or mining. Not legally, it's not under our currently constructed laws maintaining and securing public lands. It is exactly the same. That's why they're allowing it. I'm not telling you that I think that's right, but it's not a different conversation. It's the same conversation. Massive logging companies, listen, when we allow logging contracts over watersheds, what we're doing is destroying habitat for salmon and bears. Even though we're not logging in the watershed, when we're logging around the watershed, we're changing the way silt and other particulate matter gets into those streams, and we're killing salmon, right? You have to hug the whole watershed. We don't do that currently. So logging is absolutely destructive to national parks when it happens upstream from that park. So we should change all that. But as it's currently constructed, the regulatory process doesn't see mining or mining exploration as any different than logging or other public land use.
Which is why Warren said, hey, we should stop that.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Yep. But it doesn't protect, Dave. It doesn't. They replant, and there is a lot of restrictions and rules in place, and it's actually good for the forests to replenish themselves. No, we're actually creating more commercial forests. In other words, they take down old growth and replace with new growth, and that's not the same thing at all, right? So it is absolutely destructive to old forests. Old growth forests are different than new forests. And having lived in a place where there was a concerted logging industry, no, it's not. It's not a completely different conversation, Dave. It's just not. The framework allows for a certain amount of commercial exploitation of public land. We're not talking about parks. Again, we're talking about national forests or nationally designated reserve areas that have a different use. National wildlife refuges. Chesawiska is a national wildlife refuge.
Okay.
And you can hunt there.
Good talk. Ira said, do you all actually think Little Mike will actually be affected by that debate? One of the things I would really just enjoy not doing is copying what the fucking clown in the White House does with nicknames. Just want to throw that out there. Do with that what you will.
Thank you.
He will definitely be affected by it. The question is how much, and will it matter enough? Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that, right? Like, because we don't know. I mean, obviously this was the most viewed debate by, I think, a pretty healthy margin. And that is going to have a dramatic effect. The news is going to be covering the mugging, wall-to-wall coverage in a lot of ways. But $400 million, he could just do that again before Super Tuesday, right? Like he could spend $1 billion before Super Tuesday in a way that is just perfect blanket coverage. And a lot of voters will see that as the way to beat Donald Trump. And, I don't blame him. Although Warren would be cooler. You want to talk to Dave again, don't you?
God
damn it.
No, it is more destructive. You're right. It is more destructive, but it is under the same legal framework, just as acceptable. So change the legal framework, and then let's have this conversation again. But as long as these rules are in place, and we're not even talking about now Native American reserve lands, which we have bought back chunk by chunk to exploit and make their lives harder. So there is a lot of conversation to be had about exploitation of resources. But under the current way things are constructed, the legal framework is the same.
Yes, I said so. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say definitely yes. It will affect him. We just don't know how much.
Rule of thumb: if your mug is bigger than your head, it's too big. No, we all disagree.
Yeah, hard pass on that one, Bubble. Now, granted, it's really not. This is how big it actually is.
This is how fishermen make their catch look bigger.
But like this is right. Look at this. Boom.
You have no idea how coffeeed up we are. Although listening to us, maybe you do.
I had to get talked off the ledge this morning off the show. And I'm mostly actually still over it. It was either make way more coffee or start drinking heavily this morning at 9. And so more coffee won. Yay. Yep. Yeah, I mean, we should do I should pull that ranked choice thing that we used to do all the time out again. So I'd be curious to see, because I think Bloomberg would probably be really close to the bottom on mine as well.
Yep.
I mean, I would. So what's okay? Who's your bottom right now? Wait, I hear it now.
I'd rather not talk about my sex life, Corey.
Wow. So, anyways, who is your least favorite pick
among the Democrats?
Yeah, and should we maybe go just on the debate stage? Because honestly, if they weren't on the debate stage last time, they're probably irrelevant.
Okay, among those left in the God, I don't know if I want to do this today.
All right, we don't have to.
But it's Bloomberg.
They should. Anyway, there's nothing I can say right here that wouldn't be.
I mean, I'm feeling like it's been days, no callbacks. Maybe
who knows, right?
Maybe I'm safe to talk about this.
We should probably wait for a little while longer. So yeah, I think I'm definitely in the same boat. He's definitely on the bottom of my list.
I think if I rank them from now I have to remember who else on the stage. I think if I rank them from bottom to the top, it would be Bloomberg at the bottom.
Yeah,
I think it would be Buttigieg and Klobuchar next.
Okay.
Sorry, Biden, then Buttigieg and Klobuchar.
Yeah. I would actually. That's weird. I would actually put Biden above Bloomberg. Biden's been living at the bottom of my list for a long fucking time.
Yeah. Then above that, any combination of Sanders, Warren, or who else is left?
I think that's it.
Missing? It's Sanders and Warren at the top for sure. Warren is my first choice. Far and away my first choice. Who did I miss? Did I miss anybody? Lori James, bottom up. Bloomberg, Pete, Amy, Joe, Bernie, Liz. Yeah, that's everybody.
Yeah, Deb said if Amy is nominated, I wouldn't be able to listen to her huge ego. I think it's just how she runs.
Have to find a way,
right? I mean, we would figure it out. But I just want to speak to I know what she's talking about. Like as far as the I'm the one. I. It's just kind of how she talks. But I mean, it's a debate, right? You're trying to make that conclusion. It's just kind of inartful, I think. But yeah.
Bumblebee's what's good for billionaires is probably bad for the rest. Yeah, well, that's a point Corey made like a long time ago in these conversations that, you know, if you think billionaires are rooting for your interest, they're not. They're rooting for self-interest, and if it benefits you, great. But if not, they're okay with that too. That's been the standing political operation of very wealthy people for a very long time.
Right, and also like the only thing they're going to do anything for the plebs at all is to keep them docile, and
Right.
like I've talked to people that rub shoulders with those people, and that's literally how they think.
Yep.
And so, you know,
Yeah,
Boxer, I forgot about Biden,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like,
That's
dude,
an
he's
encapsulation of this entire race right there.
Although I did hear that that he was making up some ground in South Carolina.
Right.
So you know, we'll that might change the race before
picking
Super
up
Tuesday.
ground that he already lost.
That's right. Oh,
And
that
he's
absolutely
gaining
is right.
background that he had already lost. So
Yeah.
You know, I'm uncomfortable with
I
that.
agree, Deb.
Ira Klobuchar comes across like she's about to cry. Look, when are we going to stop with the thing that women are too shrill or too emotional or too
Well,
easy
and
to
she's
cry
got
or
that
too
the shaky
strident or
voice
too angry
thing, right? She's got the shaky voice thing going on.
Maybe that's
but
because Ira, you underestimate how difficult it is for women to speak with power and authority in our culture. How thoroughly trained they've been to shut up and sit down and let the men do the talking. It's
Right.
really, really difficult to do what she's doing. She's right to do it, and more women should do it, even if their voice shakes.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and so yeah, I think as far as like her not winning any arguments, I mean, I feel like she actually had a pretty good debate performance, all told. I mean, not 100% because you know the whole Mexico thing was not exactly great. Yeah. So
she
yeah, Corey
totally
said
has it.
it's always dangerous when a person or candidate says I'm the only one who can do this thing. I completely agree, and honestly, that's why Bernie's actually really close to the bottom of my list now, which is tragic if you're me. I used to be a huge fan.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, Ira. If you watched the debate the other night, there's no question in my mind that she would hand Trump his ass. But also, remember,
yeah,
he's never going to debate the Democratic nominee.
I think
They're
you're right.
never going to allow him to debate whoever it is. I think that was the mistake from 2016 that they recognized afterward. So yeah, no, I don't think he will debate any of the candidates. Dave Myers, I like his ranking order here: Warren, Sanders, Klobuchar, Buttigieg, Biden, the squirrel that was in my yard this morning, Bloomberg.
I love it. Yeah. So, and I think this might come from the fact that Mom and I both hang out on Twitter now. Since Sanders is not impressing me anymore. He and his supporters are sounding Trumpian, angry, and divisive. At least Biden is inclusive, i.e., not damaging to humanity. Yeah, I mean and so this is and Greg was telling me, we were talking about it off air. The Pod Save America guys were talking about the fact that like if you meet Bernie Sanders supporters in person, they're all awesome, and I agree with that. That's a very real assessment. But Twitter is still a thing. There's still millions of people on it, and it is toxic, and to the point where you know union reps are getting doxxed for not for having the gall not to back Bernie Sanders. So it's a real problem. And you know it's good to see. Greg was talking about the fact that there's a lot of people in the actual campaign that are you know actively doing their best to push things down into the culture that are
they're talking down chain
turn
and
the
saying
ship.
if you speak that way and we know about it, you're gone.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah. I mean that has to happen. It just my worry is that you know it didn't get to this way in a vacuum, right? Like that work should have been getting done, you know, back in 2015, 2016, when, you know, I kept telling everyone Bernie Bros didn't exist. And clearly I was wrong. Like that, you know, that is just really disappointing to me. But if they fix it, great. Right. Like that'd be awesome.
Yeah, messaging people who are part of the part of a union in Nevada and telling them that you will make it impossible for them to find work and they will live their lives in poverty if they don't change their opinion of Bernie is not helping.
Yeah, yeah,
it was their lives is not helping.
I mean, it's Trumpian to Mom's point, like that. You know, again, something else that I kept telling Rio was completely and totally not true. Making the comparison between their supporters is ridiculous. You're fucking on drugs. And then they just keep making my argument harder, which is, you know, how dare they?
Right.
Make my make my talking life slightly more difficult.
Donna, I think Bloomberg thought the Dems would let him slide so that he would give them money after he's out. Wrong. Yeah, I don't think he made that calculation. I think he knew they were coming for him.
You know what's funny though?
I can't imagine that they didn't think that was going to happen.
My buddy Rio, who I do the Movie Forward podcast with, I was talking with him last night, and he was so astounded that they would talk to the big money guy like that. They're like, honestly, dude, you are the guy that says
you poors.
Honestly, seriously, like that. It's how they think.
Poor people,
right? He's like, but it comes from fear. He's so afraid of Trump winning that like anything that is going to get in the way of that, and like Bloomberg is kind of a Republican anyway, right? So it totally fits
he's
for him.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. So it makes sense for Rio to be sort of leaning towards Bloomberg or whatever. Never mind the fact that he's a misogynist, probably yada yada yada. But yeah, like it literally is everything that's wrong with money in politics whatsoever. He's like, do you think that we should be, have deference to the fact that he has money? Not deference, but like, just maybe don't go after him so hard. I'm like, you just reframed the word deference, you stupid dumbass. Like that, you got to get laugh at it. He's like, oh yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Anyway. Cool. Yeah. Boxer Warren with Yang as Secretary of Labor. And I actually, Warren Castro is very interesting to me. I think that I like the guy. So that could be fun. I still think Warren and Stacey Abrams would be just a giant fuck you. That would be really good.
Yeah.
If you're me.
And I think they could win. I actually, for anybody that has issues with Warren's, presentation, right? Stacey Abrams is an astonishing motivational speaker, a public speaker.
Yes.
So putting her out on the campaign trail for Elizabeth Warren,
and folding in her organizational chops.
I could drive anywhere in this state to hear her speak in person.
Yep, me too.
I wish I could drive to Georgia to hear her speak in person. You may not know this, but there were severe deep recount issues after the election in Georgia that went on for months. And I actually contacted her campaign people and said, I will go to Georgia right now and knock on doors if there's, and support her in any way necessary. That's how strongly I feel that Stacey Abrams needs to be part of our national conversation. And I was disappointed she didn't run this time, but she's doing astonishingly important work in states that are close and have voter suppression issues. So that's good. And she would be an ideal vice presidential candidate. 100% behind that idea. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. My dad says the culture starts from the top down and they learn it from Bernie. Why was
that's what I kept saying
right during the debate the other night? Why didn't Bernie say, I want to speak for a moment to my supporters? Right. I would love to have heard him take 30 seconds and do that.
And it would be that's yeah. I mean that and I contrast it because everything now exists for me in a post Yang universe, right? So Yang set up the humanity first idea as sort of a thing that was going to be about policy or whatever, but it also set a bar for how we would expect things from each other as supporters. And, Bernie Sanders has not done that. And again, he's using anger as fuel, and that comes at a cost, right? Trump used anger as fuel and couldn't give a fuck about the cost. He was entirely okay with it, right? And while, the comparison is super fraught, because I mean, Bernie Sanders genuinely in his heart actually does care about these things and has for decades as far as actually helping people. Tapping into that very righteous anger, people really, really do deserve and are entitled to be angry, right? That is a huge force. It's a huge force for organizing. It's a huge force for getting people together and moving towards the same direction. But it comes at a cost, right? There is a percentage of people in your organization that will feel that anger and then just start acting out. And interestingly enough, the vast majority of them are men. And it is toxic. It's toxic. And you have to be, as a leader, cognizant of that and wanting to actually fix it, in my clearly humble opinion.
Yeah, I have some experience with the anger thing as a person who facilitates anger management classes. Yeah, getting angry is perfectly natural and normal. Everybody gets angry. What you do with that anger, how you use that anger, how it uses you is what's key. Like being able to recognize that you don't have the right to inflict things on other people because you're angry is important. And that's not something I'm seeing being taught from the top down in that particular campaign. And that's problematic. So there. Yeah, Ira is saying it made me sad that she's so friendly with Bloomberg. I know it's because of the foundation
Who?
donation. Bloomberg donated $5 million to Stacey Abrams' campaign for election security.
Oh, see, here's the thing.
But listen, yeah, and people were saying, oh, now Stacey Abrams is pro stop and frisk. No, fuck right off with that.
That's ridiculous.
No, take that billionaire money, make some good use of it.
Yes. Like when you understand what Stacey Abrams
is getting
doing,
really dangerously close to.
I know, just dropping the bomb on it. No, like when you understand what Stacey Abrams is trying to do, that actually makes what Bloomberg is trying to do. Like, again, he's a billionaire. We have huge problems with that. That is a charitable act for the country in very real terms, right? Like, it'd be really good if he came in and said, hey, like, we're going to back, democracy dollars or something. Like, there are things Bloomberg could do to say, yes, I'm going to buy this election, but then I'm going to make it impossible for the next guy to do it. That would be interesting to me, right? And he could absolutely do it. But yeah, like, listen to Stacey Abrams on The Wilderness, Stacey Abrams' interview with Chris Hayes, which was amazing on its own right. It's an hour. The work that she's doing to organize against the disenfranchisement of voters across the country is the best organizational thing going on in the country right now, which is why I want to fold her in any campaign for the Democratic Party. So if Bloomberg wants to come in and donate to that, that means that he gets it to me. Right. And again, he's got $1 billion. He's got a fucking stupid, gigantic ego, but he gave her that money before he was running for president. Right. So that's I think a thing that we want to have some nuanced views about, in my, again, clearly humble opinion.
There you go. Okay.
She walks on water as far as I'm concerned.
I saw an idea in another social media thread this morning that I really like. Let's do this. Let's say something really good about our favorite candidate. Let's each of us make a comment, something you absolutely love about the person, or for that matter, for any candidate. It doesn't have to be, because you all know who my top choice is, right? And maybe why. But say something good about one of the candidates in the race in the comments.
Even if you don't like them, because I want to say something nice.
It's maybe more important that you say something nice about someone you're not in favor of. Right.
I think that's probably one of the ways to go. Yeah, Boxer said, let's keep insurance companies rich. Buttigieg, liking him better than whoever was up chain.
All right, so I'm going to start with Buttigieg.
I was
you
talking.
Go first. You go
so
first.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with Buttigieg, and the fact that every single candidate on that stage has a healthcare plan that is better than the ACA, all of them, and they all include a version of a public option, which was what we were fighting tooth and nail for in 2008. Just want to throw that out there. Right. So him bringing that up, again, I don't like the insurance companies, keeping any money either. But we also, live in the place that we live. And the plan that a lot of them are pushing is the sort of consensus position for the Democratic Party. So I don't hate him for that. That's my nice thing that I'm going to say.
All right. I got a couple. Here's my first one. And it is also about Pete Buttigieg. If he is the nominee, he would be the most progressive president we've ever had.
Pete. Yeah, right.
So and no matter what else you think about his midline positions, he would still be a more progressive president than Obama was. And maybe more progressive than Jimmy Carter was. Right.
So that's entirely plausible. And again, now I got to say something really nice about Bernie Sanders. Remember the million times that I've said we need somebody on the edge yanking things back to the left, which he absolutely is doing. Right. Well, look at the field. Other than Bloomberg, right? Because that's a whole other thing. So to his credit, and again, there might be an argument now that he's going too far for the party, certainly. Although, I mean, his actual policies, other than the federal jobs guarantee, which is dog shit stupid, the rest of his policies I would absolutely back and work for.
Right. Okay, here's mine on Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar comes from a deep blue collar, middle class background. That's the fact. She doesn't come from wealth. She doesn't come from privilege. And she has won numerous times in Michelle Bachmann's district.
Oh, man, I fucking love you guys. Okay.
Right. I haven't even gotten over there yet.
Stupid.
I can see stuff scrolling up, but yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, Warren for consumer protection. Liz is an honest fighter. Pete is young. That is something nice you can say about him. He is young. I would gladly take a physical. Everybody laughs. Like, shut up, fucking kid.
Boxer Cat. That's Elizabeth's one is great. Buttigieg, an intellectual who speaks 7 languages, one of which he learned specifically to read an author's work.
Yeah. Fuck off, smarty pants. Yeah, that is rad. Doreen said, I love Liz because of the CFPB. My husband believed in it, even though it made his accounting and finance job harder because it protected the public. Yeah, I mean, I wish more people really understood what that was all about. And hold on, you guys are doing them too quick here. Fred said, I like Warren because she's done significant work to protect consumers. Yep. Boxer Buttigieg. Oh, you already did that one. Ira, I thought Clow had a great answer for knowledge of Mexican politics. That was a good answer because it was a very good dig on her for not remembering the name. Like that's the kind of thing that'll stick in politics, sadly. And her answer was pretty good. Dreed said, I like Pete because he has a take from my generation. Fair enough. Ginny, I love that Klobuchar always uses the female pronoun when speaking about the next president. I like that too. Boxer said Klobuchar, who might dislike, tore into Kavanaugh. She destroyed Kavanaugh. Like
Kamala Harris carried that fight.
Whew.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, watching powerful women stand up to men in power that don't fucking deserve it at all is something that gets my blood up. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, so Deb said to Ira after she researched it for Blender, again, makes mistake, owns mistake, learns a whole fucking ton, right? Like that's all I want to see from people.
Right.
Yeah, without
Doreen, I love Bernie because he inspired me to vote in the primary in 2016.
Amen.
I didn't even know the primary was a thing before him.
Boom. That's huge.
He's driving this conversation into the Overton window where lots of voters can have a look at it, and it's important. It's super important.
Yeah, Boxer said Biden gives Obama credit, perhaps too much. He has the trust of black voters. He gives Obama credit because he's drafting on his buddy's presidency.
Okay, but that's
hard. But you're right. You're right. Sorry. Right. You're right. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I said for my criticism, Club is in my top 3. And he mentioned the other thing I mentioned up thread that I didn't get a chance to say. He was saying that Kennedy lost the radio debate but won the TV debate. Right. So it's like having suggestions about how things are going to come off is not entirely crazy and doesn't necessarily need to be gender specific.
Okay, but let's
hold on. I don't want to dive too much into that. It was just a point. Maria, Bernie will get butts to the polls, millennial butts. We hope, right? He's been talking about this giant turnout machine. It has not turned out yet. Hopefully that shows up sooner than later. Boxer, Tulsi, I have nothing aside from the white stripe in her hair. I love her courage to not color her hair, unless that white stripe is coloring her hair to look more distinct.
Lelania, thank you, Lelania, for joining us and commenting this morning. It's a big deal when you show up. We're really glad you're here, and
yes.
we know, that we know. Lelania, Yang bringing the value of the stay-at-home mom to the stage,
right?
1,000%. A federal jobs guarantee does not benefit any stay-at-home mom or any person who stays home to care for a sick relative at all.
Yeah,
it doesn't help them.
Yeah.
Or retirees,
right? Or the working poor, or homeless people. Yang values humans to not their earning potential, which is important to me because I do not have much earning potential. And I think that to me, like the idea that you decouple capital value from human value is something that I don't think has ever really been discussed in American politics before, ever. So it's a totally big deal.
Corey Elko, I'm a fan of them all because they're not Trump.
Fucking game on. Yes. Yep.
Okay, here's my positive. There's not enough positive things in here about Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg donated $5 million to Stacey Abrams.
I didn't know that. I mean, that honestly, like that is not a trivial thing at all.
Mike Bloomberg has spent, I bet you $300 million of what he spent so far has been on anti-Trump ads that benefit all of the other candidates.
Yeah, did he try to go after Bernie Sanders as a communist and just fucking face plant like a loser? Yes, but he gave $5 million to Stacey Abrams, which is a thing that's real.
Right.
That hot take of his was just not good. It did not work at all.
Yep. Yeah, Boxer, I wish I'd had UBI so that I could have quit my job when my mom was home with dementia with me. I could have done a better job.
Fucking what time is it? 10:53.
The people in my community that advocate the hardest for the homeless are the people that have the least means to do so. Imagine if they had the means to do more. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I said if we just want to say how great Yang is, we will never leave this stream. That is entirely true.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
And I'm really glad to see him continuing to be part of the conversation, even though he's not a candidate.
yeah. So, his CNN stuff, like somebody showed the,
Sorry, guys.
no, honestly, like that's why I started losing my mind about the idea that
It's been a minute.
I've been freaking out about UBI since I heard about it. And even I had not fully understood how consequential the idea would be until this year.
Transformational.
It'd be insane. It'd be insane.
Yeah, I made Greg cry which makes me cry. Yeah, now we're all crying. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Dudes with feelings. Welcome to Hashtag Coffee. It fucking happens.
Yeah.
So they showed the viewership spike on CNN when Yang was on, and it was insane.
Right.
So that's going to be good for the movement.
Hey, Corey, I got something to say about that, and I'm going to be a little more open about this. I heard before that Bloomberg was going to use his machine to support whoever the nominee is, but not so sure if that's still the case.
Oh,
I'm going to drop.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
They reached out to me to be an organizer for the Bloomberg campaign, and I'm actually waiting for an answer and an offer letter. And maybe the deciding factor for me was I asked, well, I don't want to take a job and he's out by July and then I'm out of a job. And what somebody at the state level told me was, well, the plan is that we roll all of you, meaning hired organizers, into either a PAC or the party or the specific nominee, and we continue to pay you as you work for their nomination. That was the deciding factor for me. That was the moment. So that's the plan, and I'm not going to promise you that that's what will happen, but it was discussed in terms of employment with organizers who were applying for jobs with the Bloomberg campaign. And I may have just shot myself in the face for a shot at a job on that campaign.
I mean,
but they haven't called me back in a week, so I feel like.
But like they would be extremely lucky to have you. And again, because I know that you doing that job would be organizing regardless, infrastructure, people on the ground, yada yada yada, to fucking beat Donald Trump. Right. Yep. So if they want to pay you, a really, really decent amount of money over the next 6 months, fucking take that billionaire money. It's funny. I was talking to Rio yesterday,
and my most socialist friend in the whole world said exactly that word for word to me when I told her about this. Take that billionaire money. What are you nuts? Do it.
Yeah. So that was one of the things for me, knowing that was a fact that they were planning on paying people through November, no matter what. I mean, that is a non-trivial deal. That's $5 million going to Stacey Abrams, kind of like, yeah, we get that your ego is giant and ridiculous, but you're doing a lot of the right things. So
right. Hey, Deb, Greg, was take the $2,500 a month for as long as you can. Listen, that's for the internet campaign.
Yeah,
the field organizer pay is considerably more than that, and so yeah. Listen, look at the comments now. You guys make me feel better about it because I was really not. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's fucking dicey.
And again, I may have fucked myself out of a chance here. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah, it's it's totally dicey.
Maybe they'll call me now,
right?
I was told I'm waiting for a background check and an offer letter. So
here's the thing: to anyone that may or may not watch this down the road, Greg will do fucking killer work and will be in the top 10% of the people that you hire. A fucking period.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a mayoral campaign for a city of 3,000 people where we raised $5,600 in 6 weeks. Some of it from you people that are in the thread right now. So I can do this.
Yeah. Granted, raising money isn't the way but you were also you were out registering voters like fucking lunatic and organizing people and.
So. Vote Fest. It all started with Vote Fest, which was the idea of having a fun music day when people could hear directly from candidates that were on the ballot in Pasco County and register voters. And we created a legendary traffic jam in my town, which, as any event organizer will tell you, is the highest praise you could possibly garner.
Hell to the
yeah. People complaining about Bernie blocking or getting tying up traffic the other day.
Like
rally
shut up.
I was like,
what are you talking about? He's successfully getting tens of thousands of people. Like
his organizing staff's high-fiving each other today.
Hell yeah.
That story. Yeah. So, yeah. You know what? That's an interesting concept. Donna's saying it crossed my mind that Bloomberg is maybe holding up good organizers so that they are not available for other campaigns. Hiring everybody, sucking up all the talent is something to think about. It's entirely possible that that's what they were doing. Shucks, Michael, you guys are killing me now. Greg is one of the most conscientious and clear-sighted people we know. Yeah, you're that's Lomania. That's a thing. So, all right. Yeah, I'm too fucking honest.
No, I like. And
this is why people don't tell me secrets.
Think about this. Like, I would just like to praise you for keeping this a secret for as long as you did.
I mean,
if you go back and listen to all our shows, you know exactly how many times we didn't say shit about this.
I've been very careful about about responding to comments. And
honestly, they would be super smart to snap you up right now if he's going to be serious about continuing after Warren took his liver out and fucking stomped on it.
Yeah, there are but I reached out. There are other jobs available. So since I have my resume all spiffed up, let's see what happens.
Oh, Jesus. Corey said I can almost afford daycare for that. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking to Rio last night about, the future of the Moving Forward podcast, and, Patreon is slow, but we're actually getting more patrons now that the campaign has been suspended. So that's kind of fun. And we
thank you, Lilania. Vote Fest was freaking awesome.
It was. That's just real.
My favorite thing that happened was when I showed up for my first day of training in Orlando for Our Future in the 18 cycle. I was wearing my Vote Fest t-shirt because I got picked up by them because of Vote Fest. I show up in Orlando for training, and two different organizers, one from Duval County, Jacksonville, and one from Broward County, said, "Hey, you went to Vote Fest?" they had heard about my little Pasco County event all the way over in Jacksonville and Fort Lauderdale, which I was like,
that's awesome.
Did I go to Vote Fest? That was pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Corey and Greg, let me know when you want to talk about computers. I'd like to donate to y'all. That would be really cool. And I think actually Corey's closer to you geographically than I am. So yeah, let's have a chat on Facebook and see what we can do about that. Jareen, Greg, you're part of why I kept motivated to continue participation on the local level after Yang's suspension announcement. It's hard, man. It's not easy, and I respect the hell out of anybody that takes a drubbing and continues. We For Our Future in 2018, we were 100%. I still have Bill Nelson and Andrew Gillum stickers on my desktop. I have a glass top on my desk, and I have important moments under that desktop. And we were so close, and it was so heartbreaking. And then my regional director, she reminded me that she had worked 4 straight losing Democratic Party campaigns in Florida when we got to 2018. So I was like, well, suck it up, Buttercup. We took a beating, but we came really, really, really close to putting a progressive African-American with no statewide experience in the governor's mansion. And we can fucking do it in 2020. Well, we can't put a governor. You know what I'm saying? We can continue the trend of scaring the shit out of deep red counties in Florida. And I like that trend, and I want everybody to work for it. That's why I keep telling you, any of these candidates can win. Any of these candidates can beat Trump, but none of them can beat Trump without us out there in the bushes doing the hard work and getting sweaty and having heart attacks and driving 800 miles in our rickety cars to encourage people to get the fuck out the door and vote. To shame people who are choosing not to vote while 1.5 million Floridians are having the right to vote stomped on by the Republicans in our state legislature. All of them can win if we are working for it. None of them can win if we aren't. Fact. That's it. Hey, Ash.
And then they'll steal it. What? I like turtles.
And then we will organize to be out in the streets and marching.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
The fuck back.
We just fight more.
Yeah.
I can't.
You go far enough left to get your guns back. Just saying.
Okay.
That's the mistake they're making. They're thinking we will not take to the streets. They're thinking we will not be obstreperous and rude and nasty to get.
What was that word?
Obstreperous.
Nerd.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever heard that word before.
Yeah.
That's like the gilly-billed titmouse dragon bird.
Oh, update.
No.
The bird that I keep seeing that's chasing off the ospreys out here is indeed an immature bald eagle. He has a yellow beak, which is how we know it's not a golden eagle, it's a bald eagle. Yeah. Yep.
Now we know.
Yep. Yeah, I actually, I think that if we have a 10% or bigger margin, the stealing of the election thing is not a problem. Now,
But that's
I'll tell you
10%
what,
margin is not possible in
I'll tell you
American
what.
presidential politics.
Here's the thing that scares me is leading up to the primaries in the last cycle, there were a couple of states that experienced power outages
Yeah.
that were, the power systems were hacked. That scares the shit out of me. That on election day, say 10 big cities in America just experience widespread power failures.
That's the thing. Like, that Russians aren't going to do the same shit.
Right.
Like, they've established vulnerabilities that totally work. There's 10 more. Right? Like, they could delete voting rules from, 10, because again, they're not doing any security federally.
Right.
Right. So, like, if you're a Republican state,
yeah,
and you accidentally get your whole thing hacked, and then the entire thing's gone, well, everyone has to register to vote.
Our governor won't even tell us which 2 counties in Florida were hacked in the 2018 cycle.
That's right.
We still don't know.
That's the thing. Like, that. I'm trying to be hopeful. Desperately. Now, I'm going to show you something that makes all of this slightly less relevant. And also, I need one. Yeah, buddy.
Is that a real thing? I thought that was
real. They're making it. Mattel has announced a Hot Wheels branded remote control version of Tesla Cybertruck.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's available for pre-order now. Fuck yeah.
Yep, we're all scared. We're all scared, and courage is being scared and acting anyway.
Yeah,
that's all courage is being afraid and acting anyway.
Yeah.
So be strong. Be proud. Yeah.
Well, I like turtles.
Yeah. Hey. All right. I think we should wrap this up.
Okay.
I'm gonna cook a big mess of collard greens and ham today. That's what I'm doing.
All right.
Yeah. Just don't, Mike. Just don't hit the windows on the truck, the Tesla truck.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to explain the joke.
Yeah. Thanks. And that's the thing. We know.
It's always funnier when you explain the joke.
Yeah, especially when you start explaining how much explaining makes the joke funnier.
Yeah, and the more we explain it, the funnier it gets.
It gets deeper, and the more deeper it gets, the funnier it is.
The more deeper.
Yep. It's like the meta times the meta makes it funny.
Yep. Michael Silvestri, Greg, I have a secret. Did you hear somebody ask me who my bottom was earlier in the show,
Michael?
What the
hell? What is happening? Bubble says SpaceX signs deal to fly 4 space tourists around Earth in 2 years. Like, the speed that they're going is so dramatic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. What the hell?
A cobalt
shit.
Chinese no module prismatic battery pack is in the works for Tesla. Interesting.
No modules means 16 to 20% smaller battery pack, or same size with 16 to 20% increase. Could you imagine if, like, suddenly they made a gas engine that was 20% more efficient? Because that's what this is.
Right.
Thanks. Bubble is always give us these science things, man. Like, it just the science stuff is how we stay sane. So thank you for that.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to be testing the BFR like this year.
Indeed. That's a launch we should go to. I say that about every launch.
It's in
really
Texas.
Need to go.
It's in Texas. The test.
Still, all right. Yeah,
maybe right.
Yes,
it's like fuck it. Yeah, what you're scared 12 hours.
Where do they do that? Down near Brownsville, like South Texas, right?
I don't fucking know. Wherever that little village is that they took over.
Little village.
Yeah, he's trying to buy the town.
Huh.
Like for literally.
Interesting.
Yeah, Maria said, I like turtles except Mitch. Preach, sister. Oh, Donna. Is it too soon?
What?
Chinese battery pack complete with coronavirus. So come on now.
I keep not making coronavirus jokes because I feel like they might be racist. I don't know why.
And you might be right.
I don't know.
It's a thing. One of the things I want to start dropping into people's head is something called library. I've been talking about Chirp a little bit, where you can post and get paid and links for tips and shit like that. It's a cool experimental new version of Twitter. Is basically kind of the closest, but it's going to become its own thing. LBRY is a new version of YouTube that's basically using that same thing. We actually have a channel on there already. I'll start sharing the link out pretty soon. It actually automatically backs up, Greg, everything that we do. The second we're done this live, it'll actually get called over and get posted on there.
I didn't even know about it. That's cool.
we get paid a little bit of LNX. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get somebody from there to actually come in and talk about it on the show. So that's a whole thing.
I like it.
Oh shit, Gates has a Navy commander running for his seat. Good, because that guy is a fucking a-hole.
Yep. All right.
So anyway,
yeah, I'm gonna go make a big mess of collard greens and ham because I'm a Southern boy.
You're a good boy.
Yeah, I kind of am.
Yeah,
I kind of am. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate. I had a really great evening the other night, sitting around with folks around a table where we all aligned politically, and we ended up talking about science and the future and holographic universe theory and all of that cool stuff and simulation theory and what a pleasure it was to sit around with folks and have a great conversation in person the other night. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's the other thing too, guys. Ginny said Gates' opponent has an amazing ad. If anyone remembers that, we'll play them on Monday. I think we should play some ads for people because I'll tell you this: like the reason why I am wondering, how much Bloomberg will be affected by his debate for performance is that his ads are generally speaking legitimately on point.
Yeah,
like his messaging department. I'm sure they're getting paid a fuck ton of money. They are earning it because it is speaking to core democratic values in a way that is extremely compelling, right? So we should probably play some of those. But yeah, just to get into seeing some of those, sounds fun.
A good question, Deb. Are you in Florida now, or are you back up in the frozen wastelands?
She's still here.
Cool.
To the best of my knowledge, anyway. Speaking of which, I gotta come back up to there.
Yeah, when?
I think in 3 weeks. Okay. I got a message ahead. I got to get some gigs. I seriously haven't played a show in like 5 or 6 weeks, and I'm pretty sure I forgot how to play guitar.
I'll bet you that's not true.
I'm a little scared about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Me too.
Yeah, I have a new friend who's never heard you before, so we should definitely get her out to see you.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Is there any difference between simulation theory and God ruling the universe? Yeah, sort of.
If you also agree with the Arthur C. Clarke idea that any sufficiently advanced technology would appear as magic, then yes, it's the same thing.
I think that the simulation theory is as close of a rational argument for that as humanly possible. But the only thing that can be said about that has any evidence to it is that the boundary conditions would have been set at the moment of the creation of the simulation and have never been touched since. So the whole idea that you can pray to the guy running the simulation, that's not how any of this works. Right?
I don't know.
No one's coming to intervene in physics. Like at all.
As a person who's played things like Roller Coaster Tycoon and SimCity and The Sims, when you see a troubled denizen of the world you created asking for something, sometimes you build it.
Yeah. Do you break the laws of physics to do it?
There are no physics in a simulated world.
That's actually all the simulated world is. Right?
Are we going to do another hour here or what?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, BubbleViz. We're trying to get out of here.
That's good
yeah. Ask us that question again, and we'll get into it. Yeah, I would, Deb. I would love to come up to Melbourne. And again, we keep talking about
on your way. If you're coming up here,
doing a launch, maybe stopping by for coffee. That's a really good idea.
It's kind of on your way. I mean, not
do a swing over.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Oh, Jareen, thank you so much. Should I like it over here on YouTube? Best. How do you get to 1K followers? I've been sharing each day. Literally, you guys sharing this on Twitter and Facebook is the fastest way that we would get up to 1,000.
We're at 142 right now.
Yep. Asking if you post anything and anyone likes it, sending them a message to go and fire us a like. goes a really, really long way.
Are there cheat codes in a simulated universe? There are if you're Catholic. Look up indulgences, papal indulgences. Yes, there are cheat codes. Only if you're Catholic.
Yeah. No.
Man, that was spontaneous, and it's one of the best jokes I've made in a week.
That's solid work. That's solid work. Yep. In fact, I mean, we gotta get some more clips out, and then if everyone is sharing,
maybe what we should do is we should visit Deb on the way back to South Florida, so I could go with you, and then we'll figure out how to get me home.
I like it.
That might be a cool thing to do, especially if I'm not working.
Tickets are like $60 to fly one way. Yeah. So especially if you get that billionaire money. Yeah, it's so much cooler.
If I get billionaire money, I'm not gonna have time to go anywhere.
Not right now, but like eventually.
Yeah, after like it's a 7
I guess you're going to be like working 24 million hours a day.
It's entirely possible that some of the training happens down where you are, so that might happen. Let's see about that. Yeah,
cool.
Money is a cheat code. That is a fact. That is a fact. It's true in every game that I belong to that has microtransactions. All right.
Yeah, our Minecraft server is going to have its own cryptocurrency before too long.
Yeah, I saw your post about that. That was interesting.
I mean, also like the fact that Fred is cluing into it is why, because he's quadrupling down on microtransactions and games being the real funnel for adoption, and I don't blame him for that. I think that's actually really true, because that's the one thing that money can't do. Like sort of normal digitized money is not good at it.
Right.
So it's very interesting. So anyway. Yeah, we could probably just go. I just feel so much better after talking to all you guys for an hour. Then I'm like, we'll just hang out for another hour. I'm cool with it.
Right. Corey messaged me feeling kind of blue this morning. It's nice that we've
kind of blue. Literally hopeless is how I messaged this morning.
All right. Yeah. So I'm wearing my I'm wearing my Yeti to Party shirt that Jen Eichenberger gave me for Christmas. So
nice.
Always got to close with the Yeti Sasquatch reference. That's what it is.
Yeah, watch. They're gonna message right after this and be like, "Yeah, we should probably hire you up so you quit saying all those nice things about Elizabeth Warren on the internet." It's okay.
Hire me or else. Oh my goodness! All right,
solid work.
Hey, I love you guys very much, and we're gonna get out of here now. And Sasquatch is real.
Wait, Sasquatch is real?